Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ruth Reacts to Books. I'm your host, Ruxie Ruth McGouth, and this is Season 2, Episode 25. Before we get started, it's the 4th of July, and that means it's my Auntie Julie's birthday. Happy birthday, Auntie Julie. I hope you have a great day. Today, I'm reacting to Wonder Woman, Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. Now, this book was originally scheduled for 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, the United States was dropping bombs on Iran. And so I decided that was not an appropriate day for me to review this book. And so I pushed it out a few weeks so that it would be more appropriate timing. And so that's why this book is happening now instead of 2 weeks ago. So here we go. So in this show, I read the back of the book. I tell you what I liked about it. I tell you what I didn't like. I'll tell you a food that I have associated with the book. I'll tell you about my nails that I picked out for this book and why I have matched them together. And I also tell you how many stars I rated the book. So let's get started. Daughter of Immortals. Princess Diana longs to prove herself to her legendary warrior sisters, but when the opportunity finally comes, she throws away her chance at glory and breaks Amazon law, risking exile to save a mortal. Diana will soon learn that she has rescued no ordinary girl, and that with this single brave act, she may have doomed the world. Daughter of Death. Aaliyah Corrales just wants a chance to escape her overprotective brother with a semester at sea. She doesn't know she's being hunted by people who think her very existence could spark a world war. When a bomb detonates aboard her ship, Aaliyah is rescued by a mysterious girl of extraordinary strength and forced to confront a horrible truth. Aaliyah is a Warbringer, a direct descendant of the infamous Helen of Troy, fated to bring about an age of bloodshed and misery. Together, two girls will face an army of enemies, mortal and divine, determined to either destroy or possess the Warbringer. Tested beyond the bounds of their abilities, Diana and Aaliyah must find a way to unleash hidden strengths and forge an unlikely alliance. Because if they are to have any hope of saving both their worlds, they will have to stand side by side against the tides of war. All right, well, I gave this book 3.5 stars, which actually is fairly low for a Leigh Bardugo book for me, because Leigh Bardugo is in my top 5 favorite authors ever. This is my second time reading this book. First read it in 2019, and it is fairly meaningful to me. It kind of helped me in 2019, I was going through a pretty rough period in my life, and this book really helped get me through that. So I do love this book in a lot of ways. And 3.5 is not a bad score by any means, but for a Leigh Bardugo book, it's not as high as what I usually rate her books, because usually I find her books to be super high rated. So let's get to kind of what I liked and what I didn't like about this book. So I liked that it is funny but serious. So Leigh does a great job of taking this character of Wonder Woman and putting her into the current world and mixing together the culture of where Wonder Woman comes from in this book and mixing her together with the culture of this Aaliyah person that you heard about, and kind of mixing the two cultures together in a very comical way that is very charming and funny. While also, of course, as it's Warbringer and talking about war, it's a very serious topic that they're talking about. And with Aaliyah being, as they mentioned, their descendant of Helen of Troy, and this whole thing that's going on that the problem they're trying to solve being a very serious problem. So she does a good job of talking about that in a way that they have the comedy added, but also they're talking about a serious topic. So funny, but serious at the same time. She does a very good job with her twists, and there is certainly a twist in this book. I won't say anything more about what it is because I don't want to give it away. I definitely recommend for you to read the book. So I think you should read it and find out, and I'd like to hear if you enjoy the twist. But of course, if you hate twists, don't read the book because there's definitely one in here. And maybe the thing I like the most about the book is that Diana, or Wonder Woman, during this book has a lot of moral quandary that she is working through herself. So you hear about it in the book jacket that, you know, she has this ethical dilemma right at the very beginning of the book that she is then working through the whole entire book. And she's trying to figure out herself, where she fits in the world and all of this stuff. And as a philosophy major in college, I have a philosophy degree. I love that stuff, right? I love people figuring out and I think we all do that as we walk through life, trying to figure out where we fit in and how, and it's kind of, and how we relate to other people and how to prove our worth to people. I think that's like a big part of, and it's funny for us mere humans to see someone like Wonder Woman thinking that she needs to prove her worth to people, but it's nice to see that in a fictional book and then be able to like see ourselves in that way. So I liked a lot of things about the book. Some of the things I didn't like about the book, the plot to me felt a little bit surface level for a Leigh Bardugo book, just because I've read so many of her other books and I feel like usually you get so deep into the books, like into the plot when you're reading a Leigh Bardugo book. I just felt that this one felt sort of surface level, and I feel like we didn't get to know the characters quite as well as we normally do, other than Wonder Woman. Like, we did get to know her really well, but the rest of the people, we just really didn't get to know them very much, and so it was a little strange, and just unusual compared to her other books. And the bad guy, I felt like the bad guy in this book felt pretty one-sided to me. Like, all bad. Like, 100% bad. And I feel like in real life, people aren't 100% bad. They usually at least think that they're doing the right thing. I mean, and maybe this guy did in a way, but he felt pretty 100% bad to me. So I don't know, was not a fan of the bad guy. He kind of was just skeeverson. Didn't feel super realistic, but maybe that was too real. Maybe that's too realistic and there's too many real bad guys in the world right now. And that's what was skeeving me out about that person. So this book is one of DC Comics has like commissioned a group. I think it's like 4 or 5 different authors to write 4 or 5 different books. So like one of them is Wonder Woman. I've also seen Catwoman. There's one about Catwoman. I don't remember what the other titles are that are in the series, but there's a series of different like books written, kind of like chapter books about different DC icons. I think that's what they're called, the DC Icon series. So this is one of them. The reason I picked it up is because Leigh Bardugo is one of my top 5 favorite authors. So that's why I read it in the first place. And I'm super glad I did, of course, because Leigh Bardugo, but also it was a good book. So the food that I picked out for this is, I got a link in the comments for you if you want to try making it. It's a dessert. It's called Food for the Gods. Typically made, I think in the Philippines for holidays. Looks delicious. It's a kind of a dessert recipe. So feel free to make that. Let me know if you do make it. Let me know how it is. I picked that out just because a lot of, and I also said like food for the gods or maybe the goddesses, because in the book people think that she's a goddess. She's actually in the book like kind of like an Amazon sort of, but because she's so strong and has the kind of like superpowers, and she's, you know, she got the truth lasso and everything. She kind of seems like a god to them. And then my nails. So I have 2 sets today that I'm wearing. Underneath, I have one called Starry Nation. It actually does happen to be a 4th of July set. I was supposed to be wearing it 2 weeks ago, but I'm actually wearing it on the 4th of July, which is not what I was intending, but here we go. And obviously Wonder Woman is red, white, and blue. And so that's why I've got like kind of the red and the blue and then the gold, and the gold sparkles on top is called Gilded Glow. So Starry Nation underneath and then the gold on top, just to be Wonder Woman's colors. And so that's what I got. That's what I got for you today. So I will see you back here next week for next episode of Ruth Reacts to Books. It's me, Ruxie Ruth McGouth. Peace and out. I'll see you next week. Bye.